Listen, I have worked security at the Galactic Transit Hub for 17 cycles now, and I have seen some weird stuff. I mean really weird stuff, like that time a Quellian tried to smuggle live plasma eels in his stomach pouches, or when that Venturi diplomat turned out to be 3 kids stacked in a ceremonial robe. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, prepared me for the day Marcus Webb walked through my scanner. My name is Kilrax, and I am of Orthon. We are the galaxy's favorite choice for security personnel because, well, we have 4 eyes, 6 manipulator appendages, and an almost supernatural ability to spot contraband. Plus, we are naturally paranoid. It is genetic. Our ancestors survived by assuming everything was trying to kill them, and honestly, that instinct serves us well in this job. The day started normal enough. Morning shift at Gate 73, checking credentials, scanning biosignatures, trying not to fall asleep while processing the endless stream of traders, diplomats, tourists, and other assorted galactic riffraff. My partner, Yenna, a skrill with a sardonic sense of humor and way too much enthusiasm for someone working in bureaucracy, was manning the manual inspection station. Another day, another 1,000 scans, she chirped, her translator rendering her clicking language into something I could understand. You think today we will catch anyone interesting, Kilrax? Define interesting, I muttered, waving through a nervous Paxian merchant whose cargo manifest listed 17 different types of fungal spores. Legal, unfortunately. Because yesterday's interesting was that Terraxian who somehow thought he could pass off military-grade plasma rifles as agricultural equipment. Yenna laughed. That weird rattling sound her species makes. To be fair, you could probably use them for very aggressive farming. That is not how regulations work, and you know it. You are no fun. See, this is what I deal with every day. Yenna thinks security is some kind of entertainment venue. I think security is the thin line between order and absolute pandemonium. We agree to disagree, which is why we have not killed each other yet. Anyway, around mid-cycle the flow of traffic slowed to a trickle. That weird lull that happens between the morning rush and the afternoon cargo haulers. I was considering taking a break, maybe grabbing some of that Zenthary caffeine substitute that tastes like battery acid but keeps you alert, when he walked in. Human male, approximately 1.8 meters tall, lean build, dark hair pulled back in what humans call a bun, wearing simple civilian clothes, nothing fancy, carrying a single travel pack. He moved with this casual confidence that immediately made my secondary eyes narrow with suspicion. Humans are relatively new to the galactic community, right? Only made official contact about 40 cycles ago. Before that, they were stuck in their little corner of the galaxy, doing whatever humans do when nobody is watching. Fighting each other, apparently. Humans are really good at fighting each other. But since they joined up, they have been everywhere. Trading, exploring, settling, arguing, making friends, making enemies, generally being the chaotic mess that every species is when they first hit the galactic stage. Most of them are harmless. Annoying sometimes. Sure, but harmless. This one, though, something about him made my paranoia circuits fire up. He approached my station with an easy smile. Humans smile a lot. Did you know that? It is unsettling. Showing your teeth like that in most species is a threat display, but humans do it to indicate friendliness. I still have not gotten used to it. Morning, he said, his voice pleasant. Or whatever time it is here. Station time zones mess with me. Credentials, I responded, keeping it professional. No need for small talk. He handed over his identification chip without hesitation. I plugged it into my scanner and his information popped up on my display. Marcus Webb, human, citizen of Earth, specifically some place called Colorado. Age 32, standard cycles. Occupation listed as freelance consultant. Destination, Kelvar Prime. Freelance consultant.
Right.
That is what they all say when they do not want to explain what they actually do. Purpose of travel? I asked, running through the standard questions while the deeper scans processed. Business meeting, Marcus said with a shrug. Got a contract opportunity on Kelvar. Manufacturing consultation. Manufacturing consultation, I repeated, my voice dripping with skepticism. Yeah, I know, sounds boring. He grinned again. That teeth thing. But it pays well. The scanner beeped. Primary scan complete. No weapons, no contraband, no biological hazards. His story checked out on the surface level, but I am Vorthine. Paranoia is in my DNA. Step into the bioscanner, please, I instructed, gesturing to the full-body scanning array. Standard procedure for random checks. And by random I mean I check anyone who gives me weird vibes. Marcus complied without complaint, stepped into the scanner ring, raised his arms, waited. Professional, cooperative, which somehow made me more suspicious. The bioscanner hummed to life, invisible fields washing over him, cataloging everything from his bone density to his gut bacteria. That is when things got interesting, because halfway through the scan the machine stuttered. Just a tiny hiccup, barely noticeable. But I notice everything. Hold still, please, I said, frowning at my display. One of his biomarkers was flagged. Not contraband, not a weapon, just flagged for secondary review. Problem? Marcus asked, still holding the position. Arms raised. Probably nothing. You have any implants? Medical devices? Enhanced modifications? Nope, he said. All natural human here, well, except for the dental work. The scanner completed its cycle. Most of his readings came back normal. Human baseline, slightly elevated physical conditioning, nothing unusual except for one thing. His left forearm showed an anomaly. Not metallic, not organic, just something the scanner could not quite identify. I leaned forward, squinting at the display. What is on your left arm? I asked. Marcus glanced down at his forearm, then back up at me. Oh, the tattoo. Is that what is setting it off? Tattoo. Right. Humans do that. They inject permanent pigments under their skin for decorative purposes. Seems painful and pointless. But hey, every species has their weird cultural things. We've molt our skin patterns every cycle, so the whole permanent marking thing baffles us. The scanner is having trouble reading it, I explained. The pigments you used, they contain trace elements that are obscuring the scan. I need to verify it is just a tattoo. Sure, no problem, Marcus said, stepping out of the scanner. He walked over to my station and rolled up his left sleeve. There on his forearm was indeed a tattoo. Black ink, relatively simple design, some kind of emblem or insignia. It showed a sword crossed with a lightning bolt, surrounded by a circular border with symbols I did not recognize. Human military iconography. Probably. They love that stuff. Just a military thing, Marcus explained, following my gaze. Got it when I was younger. Seemed like a good idea at the time. You served in Earth's military, I asked, pulling up his records again. Nothing in his file mentioned military service. Long time ago, he said with a shrug. Did my time, got out, moved on. I stared at the tattoo, then at him, then back at my screen. Something felt off. But his records were clean. His scan was clean except for the tattoo interference. There was no legal reason to detain him. Except for my paranoia. One moment, I said, reaching for the manual verification scanner. I need to do a deep scan on the tattoo, just to confirm it is only ink. Jenna glanced over from her station, her antenna perking up with interest. She loves when I get suspicious. Says it is the most entertainment she gets all day. Marcus extended his arm cooperatively. Do what you need to do. I activated the manual scanner, a handheld device designed for close-range molecular analysis. Aimed it at his tattoo. Pressed the scan button. And that is when everything went wrong. The scanner lit up like a supernova, lights flashing, alarms screaming, my entire display erupting in error messages. The main security console started smoking. Actual smoke, Yenna yelped, and jumped back from her station as her screens went haywire too. What the void? I shouted, dropping the scanner like it had bitten me. Marcus, to his credit, did not even flinch. Just stood there, arms still extended, watching the chaos with this resigned expression. Like he had seen this before. The station's central AI, an insufferably pompous Nexus-class system named Eric, started blaring warnings in 6 different languages. Security breach, unauthorized access detected, defense protocols engaging, containment field activating. Eric, shut up, I yelled, trying to make sense of the cascading errors on my screen. The containment field snapped into place around Marcus, a shimmering energy barrier designed to hold dangerous criminals or biological hazards. He just sighed and lowered his arm. standing calmly inside his bubble prison. "This happens sometimes," he said, sounding almost apologetic. "This happens sometimes?" I repeated incredulously. What is this?" My screen finally stabilized enough to show me what had triggered the catastrophic system failure. And when I read it, my blood, all three types of it, went cold. The display showed Marcus's tattoo scan results, except it was not reading it as a tattoo anymore. It was reading it as an encrypted military identification marker. And not just any military marker. The screen flashed red with text that made no sense. "Military record classified. Security clearance level extinct. Error. Authorization tier not recognized. Error. Cryptographic protocol predates galactic registry. Wireless. Subject classification unknown." I stared at it, blinked all four eyes, stared some more. "Yenna," I called out, my voice strangled. "Are you seeing this?" She scrambled over, her own display showing similar errors. Her antenna went rigid, a sign of shock in her species. "That is not possible," she whispered. "Clearance level extinct? What does that even mean?" I looked at Marcus, who stood in his containment field with his hands in his pockets, looking mildly inconvenienced. "So," he said conversationally, "this is probably going to take a while to sort out, is it not?" "What are you?" I demanded. "What is that tattoo? Why does it have encryption that predates galactic records?" "That is complicated," Marcus said. "Uncomplicate it." He scratched his head, genuinely seeming to think about how to explain. "Okay, so, you know how humans only officially joined the galactic community 40 cycles ago?" "Yes." "Right. Well, officially is the key word there." My primary brain started hurting. "What?" "Look, I am just a retired grunt," Marcus said. "I do not make policy, but before first contact, before we were part of your club, humanity kind of already knew about you guys, had known for a while, and some of us were part of programs that operated in the space between official and unofficial. Black operations," Yenna breathed. "You were part of a covert human military unit that operated before first contact." Marcus pointed at her. "Give the lady a prize." "Yeah, basically, we did things that officially never happened with tech that officially did not exist. But the Galactic Council specifically prohibits pre-contact military incursions." "Which is why it officially never happened," Marcus interrupted, "and why all the records are classified under protocols that no longer exist in your systems. My unit's clearance level was erased when humanity went legitimate. Extinct, as your system so dramatically put it." I felt my career flashing before my eyes. This was so far above my pay grade that it might as well be in another dimension. "So when I scanned your tattoo," I said slowly, "I accidentally accessed a ghost protocol from before humanity joined the galactic community, which tried to authenticate against security clearances that were deliberately erased from all official records." "Pretty much," Marcus agreed. "That tattoo is not just ink, it is a bio-encrypted identification marker that broadcasts on frequencies your scanners can detect but not interpret. Old Earth military tech, really old." The station's alarm was still blaring. More security personnel were arriving, including my supervisor, Thorax, a massive Krell who made his displeasure known through aggressive nostril flaring. "Kilrax," he bellowed. "What in the name of the Founders have you done to my station?" "I scanned a human," I said weakly. "You scanned a human and triggered a station-wide security lockdown?" "It is complicated, sir." Thorax looked at Marcus in the containment field. Marcus waved. "Aye," Marcus said. "Sorry about the mess. This really is not my fault." "Everything is someone's fault," Thorax growled. He turned to me. "Explain." "Now." I pulled up the scan results and showed him, watched his nostril flare even wider, which I did not think was physically possible. "Extinct clearance level," he read, his voice deadly quiet. "Kilrax, do you know what this means?" "That I am having a very bad day, sir. This means I have to call the Galactic Security Council. This means I have to file reports in triplicate. This means I am going to have investigators crawling all over my station for the next month." "To be fair," Yenna offered helpfully, "we did not know the human was carrying Ghost Protocol encryption." Thorax fixed her with a glare that could melt hull plating. She wisely shut up. Marcus cleared his throat from inside his bubble. "Hey. I do have a shuttle to catch. My meeting on Kelvar is kind of time-sensitive. Is there any way we can speed this along?" "Speed this along?" Thorax repeated, his voice rising. Human, you just crashed our security grid with illegal pre-contact military credentials. You are not going anywhere until we sort this out, which will take days, maybe weeks. Ah, Marcus said. That is unfortunate. Unfortunate? I could not help it. I laughed. Actually laughed. You have encryption in your skin that predates galactic records, and you call it unfortunate. Well, what would you call it? Marcus asked. A diplomatic incident. Okay, fair. More security teams arrived. Technical specialists, counterintelligence officers, even a representative from the Galactic Military Liaison Office. They all stared at Marcus like he was some kind of exotic specimen, which, I suppose he was. The containment field was reinforced. Scanning teams set up equipment around him, trying to analyze his tattoo without triggering more system failures. Marcus stood there patiently, occasionally checking the time on his wrist device, which somehow still worked despite the electromagnetic chaos around him. So, Yenna said quietly to me as we watched the chaos unfold. Normal day at the office? I hate you, I replied. You love me. That is debatable. An intelligence officer, a Pelian named Vex with too many eyes and not enough patience, approached Marcus's containment field with a tablet. Marcus Webb, Vex said, reading from his screen. According to your official records, you have never served in any military capacity. Care to explain the discrepancy? Official records are not always complete, Marcus said diplomatically. That is not an answer. It is the only answer I can give without clearance confirmation. Your clearance level is extinct. Exactly. Vex's eye stalks twitched with irritation. You are being deliberately obstinate. I am being deliberately careful. Marcus corrected. Look, I understand this is frustrating for you, but I took oaths that do not expire just because the programs got shut down. I cannot talk about what I did, where I did it, or who I did it with, not without proper authorization from Earth Military Command. And how do we obtain that authorization? Marcus smiled. That unsettling teeth thing again. Now that is the interesting question, is it not? Vex looked ready to molt his skin in frustration. He turned to Thorax. Sir, this is beyond station authority. We need to escalate to council level. Thorax's nostrils flared again. He really needed to work on his stress management. Fine, Thorax said. Quarantine the human. Full isolation protocols. Contact Earth's liaison office. And someone please fix my station before I reassign all of you to waste reclamation duty. Yes, sir, everyone chorused, including me. They started moving Marcus toward the quarantine wing. High security cells designed for dangerous criminals or biohazards. As they escorted him past my station, he caught my eye. Sorry about your console, he said. For what it is worth, you were just doing your job. Small comfort when my job just became exponentially more complicated, I replied. He grinned. Look on the bright side. At least your day is not boring anymore. And with that they led him away. I watched him go. This unremarkable human in civilian clothes with a tattoo that had just caused the biggest security incident of my career. Yenna sidled up next to me. So how long do you think before this becomes a major interstellar incident? I checked my chronometer. Based on bureaucratic processing speeds, I give it 3 hours before someone from Earth's government shows up demanding answers, 5 hours before the Council dispatches investigators, and about 6 hours before I seriously consider a career change. Want to bet on it? Yenna, we are in enough trouble already. That is not a no. I sighed, all 3 of my respiratory systems deflating at once. Fine. 20 credits says Earth sends someone in under 2 hours. Deal. We shook on it, a gesture Yenna had picked up from humans. It felt appropriate given that a human had just ruined my day. Little did I know this was just the beginning. Because 53 minutes later, an Earth military vessel appeared at the station's perimeter, an actual warship, requesting immediate docking clearance and priority access to Quarantine Wing 7, where they just happened to be holding Marcus Webb. Yenna looked at me. I looked at her. You owe me 20 credits. I said. Yeah, she replied. But I think we have bigger problems now. The warship docked, and when the airlock opened, what emerged made even Thorax's nostrils flare with something that might have been respect. Or fear. Possibly both. The woman who stepped off that Earth warship was not what I expected. First of all, she was tiny. I mean, even for human standards, maybe 1.6 meters tall, slim build. Dark skin, hair cropped military short, but the way she moved, the way every single person on that ship deferred to her, told me everything I needed to know about who was in charge. She wore an Earth military uniform, black and gray with insignia I did not recognize. Her expression was the kind of cold, professional mask that people wear when they are about to ruin your entire existence and feel absolutely nothing about it. Behind her came a squad of human soldiers. 6 of them, all armed with weapons that made our station security gear look like children's toys. They fanned out in a perfect defensive formation, scanning everything with the kind of paranoid efficiency that I, as a professional paranoid, could appreciate. Thorax met them at the docking bay. I was there too because apparently triggering this disaster meant I got a front row seat to watching it unfold. Jenna came along because she claimed it was her duty as my partner. Really, she just wanted to see what happened next. "I am Commander Lydia Reeves," the woman announced, her voice sharp and precise. "Earth Strategic Defense Initiative. I am here for Marcus Webb." "Commander Reeves," Thorax rumbled, trying to assert some authority. "This is a galactic transit hub under Council jurisdiction. You cannot simply—" She held up a datapad. Authorization code Delta 7 Omega Black, signed by Earth's Secretary of Defense and countersigned by the Galactic Military Liaison Office. I have full authority to retrieve my operative and any classified materials related to his identification. Thorax's nostrils flared so wide I thought they might actually detach from his face. He scanned the datapad. His expression went from angry to resigned in about 3 seconds. "The human is in Quarantine 7, he said stiffly, "but I must inform you that his biometric marker triggered multiple security failures. We have documented evidence of pre-contact military encryption that you will delete immediately," Commander Reeves interrupted, "along with any copies, backups, or records related to this incident." "Excuse me?" Thorax actually took a step back. "The encryption you detected is classified under the Terra Protocol. Its existence falls under Galactic Security Exception Clause 94, subsection 12, which means you are required by law to purge all records of it." Immediately, I felt my stomach, all 2 of them, drop. "Wait, we have to delete everything. But that is my entire shift report." Commander Reeves turned her cold gaze on me. "You are the security officer who performed the scan." "Yes, ma'am," I said, suddenly feeling very small despite being a meter taller than her. "Then you will also sign a non-disclosure agreement. What you saw today never happened. What you think you discovered does not exist. Are we clear?" But, "Are we clear?" Those 2 words carried so much weight that I actually physically recoiled. This woman could probably kill me with her pinky finger and not even blink. "Crystal clear, ma'am," I squeaked. "Good." She turned back to Thorax. "Take me to Webb. Now." We escorted her to Quarantine 7. The entire walk there, her soldiers maintained formation, scanning corners, checking sightlines. Professional, scary professional. When we reached the cell, Marcus was sitting on the bunk, looking completely relaxed. He glanced up as we entered, saw Commander Reeves, and his entire demeanor changed. He stood immediately, shoulders back, posture perfect. "Not quite attention, but close enough." "Commander," he said, his casual tone gone. "Been a while." "Webb," she replied, her expression softening just a fraction. "I see you are still making my life difficult. It is a gift." She actually almost smiled. "Almost. Deactivate the containment field." Thorax hesitated. "The human is potentially—" "I know exactly what he is," Reeves said. "Deactivate it. That is an order." Thorax looked at his control pad, then at her authorization codes, then sighed and killed the containment field. It flickered out of existence. Marcus stepped out, rolling his shoulders. "Thanks. That thing gives me a headache." "You crashed their entire security grid," Reeves said. "In my defense, I told them it was just a tattoo. You knew what would happen if they scanned it." "I hoped it would not come to that," Marcus said with a shrug. "But yeah, I knew." I could not contain myself anymore. "Okay, someone please explain what is going on. What is that tattoo? Why does it have extinct military clearance? And why is Earth sending a warship to retrieve one freelance consultant?" Reeves looked at Thorax. "Clear the room. Except for these 2. She gestured at me and Yenna. "They are already compromised. Might as well read them improperly. Commander, I do not think Thorax started. That was not a request. Thorax's nostrils did their thing again, but he nodded and ushered everyone else out. The human soldiers took up positions outside the door, and then it was just the five of us. Me, Yenna, Thorax, Marcus, and Commander Reeves. Before I explain anything, Reeves said, you need to understand that what I am about to tell you is classified at the highest possible level. If you repeat any of it without authorization, you will spend the rest of your lives in a very unpleasant detention facility. Nod if you understand. We all nodded, vigorously. Good. She turned to Marcus. Show them. Marcus rolled up his sleeve again, exposing the tattoo, but this time he pressed his thumb against it in a specific pattern. The tattoo lit up, actually glowed with a faint blue light. Symbols appeared around the edge, rotating through sequences that hurt to look at. What you are seeing, Reeves explained, is a bio-encrypted neural interface marker. It was implanted in members of a special operations unit called Ghost Protocol. These individuals operated in deep space before humanity's first contact. Their mission was reconnaissance, intelligence gathering, and occasionally intervention in situations that threatened Earth's security. You were spying on us, Yenna said, her voice shocked. We were protecting ourselves, Marcus corrected. Look, 40-some cycles ago, from your perspective, humanity was just discovering faster than light travel. We were excited, optimistic, ready to join the galactic community, but we were also terrified, because we had no idea what was out there. No idea if the first aliens we met would be friendly or would try to wipe us out. So Earth's military created Ghost Protocol. Reeves continued. Small teams of highly trained operatives who went out ahead of first contact, learned your languages, studied your cultures, identified potential threats, all completely invisible. When humanity officially joined the galactic community, we already knew exactly who we were dealing with. I felt dizzy. That is illegal. That violates about 17 different galactic treaties. Technically, Marcus said, it only violates treaties that we had not signed yet, because we had not made contact yet.
Legal loophole.
That is the worst legal loophole I have ever heard, I protested. Take it up with the lawyers. Marcus said, I just followed orders. When humanity joined the galactic community, Reeves said, Ghost Protocol was officially disbanded. All records were sealed or destroyed. The operatives were given new identities, civilian lives, and their biomarkers were supposed to be deactivated. Supposed to be? Thorax asked. Turns out, Marcus said, scratching the back of his head, the deactivation process did not work properly on some of us. The encryption is too deeply integrated. It is part of our biological signature now. We cannot remove it without killing ourselves. So you have been walking around with active military-grade encryption embedded in your skin for 40 cycles? I asked incredulously. Pretty much. It usually is not a problem. Most scanners cannot detect it. Your security scanner just happened to be sensitive enough and paranoid enough, he nodded at me, to dig deep enough to trigger it. And when it triggered, Reeves added, it tried to authenticate against security protocols that no longer exist in any galactic database. Hence the system crash and the extinct clearance level warning. Okay, Yenna said slowly, but why the warship? Why the dramatic retrieval? If this was just an accidental scanner glitch, why not just quietly explain it? Reeves and Marcus exchanged a look, the kind of look that said there was more to the story. Because, Reeves finally said, Marcus Webb is not the only former Ghost Protocol operative in the galaxy. There are 43 others, all living quiet civilian lives, all trying to stay invisible. And if word gets out that their biomarkers can be detected by standard security scanners, every intelligence agency in the galaxy will start looking for them. And some of those operatives, Marcus said quietly, know things that could cause major diplomatic problems if they were exposed. They saw things during their missions. Things that powerful people would prefer stay buried. The implications hit me like a cargo hauler. You are saying that there are humans walking around with knowledge that could destabilize galactic politics. I am saying, Reeves corrected, that there are humans who did their duty to protect Earth, and who deserve to live peaceful lives without being hunted by every intelligence service in the galaxy, which is why this incident never happened. Why you will delete your records, and why we are leaving now. Thorax looked like he had bitten into something sour. This is highly irregular. This is highly classified, Reeves countered. Irregular implies there is a regular procedure for this situation. There is not. This falls under special protocols that supersede normal procedures. You have your authorization codes. You have your legal justification. Do your job and make this disappear. And what about them? Thorax gestured at me and Yenna. They know everything now. They will sign NDAs, Reeves said. They will continue their normal duties, and they will never speak of this to anyone. Ever. Because if they do, I will know, and I will well back, and nobody wants that. The threat was delivered so calmly, so matter-of-factly, that it was somehow more terrifying than if she had shouted it. Understood, I managed to say. Yenna just nodded, her antenna flat against her head in submission. Marcus looked at me and there was actually sympathy in his eyes. For what it is worth, I am sorry you got dragged into this. You were just doing your job. A good job, by the way. Most security officers would have waved me through. My paranoia is genetic, I said weakly. Best trait for a security officer. He agreed, but maybe next time, trust your instincts a little less. Noted. Commander Reeves pulled out 2 data pads. Non-disclosure agreements, biometric signature required. Read them carefully. You have 3 minutes. We read. It was exactly what she said. We agreed to never discuss anything related to Ghost Protocol, Marcus Webb's true identity, or the extinct clearance level. Violation would result in immediate arrest and indefinite detention. Standard terrifying legal document. We signed. What choice did we have? Good, Reeves said, collecting the pads. Webb, let us go. You have missed your meeting on Kelvar by now. Yeah, about that, Marcus said. The meeting was cover anyway. I was actually heading to Kelvar to check on another former operative. Make sure they were doing okay. Who? Tanya Volkov. She is running a terraforming consultancy there. Wanted to make sure she was staying under the radar. Reeves closed her eyes briefly. Of course she is. Fine, we will stop at Kelvar. Check on Volkov, make sure she has not crashed any security systems lately. Appreciate it, Commander. They started walking toward the door. The human soldiers fell in around them. Professional, efficient, scary. But then Marcus stopped and turned back to me. Hey, Kilrax, right? Yes, I said, surprised he remembered my name. You ever think about a career change? Earth's security services are always looking for good people, someone with your instincts, your attention to detail. You would do well. I stared at him. You are recruiting me. After all this? Just saying, the offer is there. You have my frequency now. It is in the data from the scan before your system crashed. Think about it. And then they were gone, walking out of my life as suddenly as they had entered it. The quarantine room felt very empty, suddenly. Well, Yenna said after a long silence, that was the most exciting shift we have ever had. Exciting is not the word I would use, I muttered. What word would you use? Terrifying, confusing, career-threatening, but also exciting. I could not argue with that. Thorax turned to us, his expression grim. You heard the commander. Delete everything. All scan records, all reports, all backups. This never happened. Yes, sir, we said together. We spent the next 2 hours scrubbing every reference to Marcus Webb from the station's systems. His scan data, the error logs, the containment field activation records, everything. It was like he had never been there. Except I knew he had been. And I knew what I had seen. When we finally finished, Thorax dismissed us for the day, early end to the shift. He said it was because the stress had been too much. Really, I think he just wanted us gone before we could talk to anyone else about what happened. Yenna and I walked back to the main concourse together. The station had returned to normal, travelers moving through checkpoints, cargo being processed, the usual organized chaos of a galactic transit hub. So, Yenna said, eventually, you going to take him up on his offer? What offer? The recruitment thing. Working for Earth security. I laughed. Are you insane? I just spent 2 hours being threatened by a terrifying human commander and deleting evidence of a major security incident. Why would I want more of that in my life? Because it would not be boring, Yenna said with a grin. I like boring. Boring is safe. Boring does not involve extinct clearance levels and diplomatic incidents. You are such a liar. You loved every second of that. I wanted to argue. wanted to insist that I hated the chaos, the stress, the uncertainty. But the truth was, for those few hours, I had felt more alive than I had in cycles. Something about the mystery, the danger, the sheer impossibility of the situation had awakened something in me. Maybe it was the genetic paranoia. Maybe it was just boredom with routine finally catching up to me. But Marcus Webb had been right about one thing. I had good instincts, and my instincts were telling me that my quiet, safe, boring career in station security was about to get a lot more interesting. I will think about it, I admitted. Yana's antenna perked up. Really? Really? But if I do take them up on it and if it gets me killed, I am haunting you. Deal. We made it back to our quarters. I collapsed on my bunk, all 6 limbs sprawled out, trying to process everything that had happened. My communicator chirped. New message. Encrypted. High-level encryption that I should not have access to. I opened it cautiously. The message was short. Good work today. If you are serious about the career change, contact this frequency. Ask for Handler 7. Tell them Ghost sent you. Maimed up. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I saved it. Did not delete it. Did not report it. Just saved it. Because maybe, just maybe, I was tired of boring. Maybe I wanted to know what else was out there. What other secrets humanity was hiding. What other impossible situations I could find myself in. Or maybe I was just an idiot who did not know when to quit. Probably both. 3 days later, I sent a message to the frequency Marcus had given me. Asked for Handler 7. Said Ghost sent. They responded in under an hour. Set up a meeting. Ran background checks. Asked questions that made me deeply uncomfortable. And 6 weeks after that I was on a transport to Earth. New job, new life, new career with humanity's Strategic Defense Initiative. Was it the smart choice? Probably not. Was it the safe choice? Definitely not. But it was my choice. And for the first time in 17 cycles, I felt like I was doing something that mattered. Something more than just checking credentials and scanning cargo manifests. I learned a lot in those first months with Earth intelligence. Learned about Ghost Protocol's real missions. Learned about the threats they had neutralized before humanity even knew they existed. Learned about the sacrifices those operatives had made to keep Earth safe. And I learned about Marcus Webb, his real record, not the sanitized civilian version. Turns out that freelance consultant had been one of Ghost Protocol's most decorated operatives, had conducted 37 deep cover missions in hostile territory, had saved Earth from at least 3 major conflicts that would have erupted if certain information had come to light. The man I had scanned that day was not just some random human with an unfortunate tattoo. He was a legitimate hero who had earned that extinct clearance level through blood and sacrifice. And he had seen something in me, some quality that made him think I could handle this world. I am still not sure if he was right. Some days, I miss the boring simplicity of station security. Miss Yena's jokes and Thorax's nostril flares and the predictable rhythm of checkpoint operations. But most days, I am grateful. Grateful for that moment of paranoia that made me dig deeper. Grateful for the chaos that followed. Grateful for the chance to be part of something bigger. Because Marcus Webb taught me something important that day. Sometimes, the things that seem like disasters, the moments that feel like your entire world is falling apart, those are actually opportunities. Chances to become something more than you were. And sometimes the scariest decisions lead to the best outcomes. Or maybe I am just rationalizing my questionable life choices. That is possible too. Either way, I never did get to finish that shift report. And you know what? I am okay with that. Because some stories do not fit neatly into official reports. Some experiences transcend documentation, and some secrets are worth keeping, even if they have extinct clearance levels. Especially if they have extinct clearance levels.